Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are MC.
Chief Wahoo has every reason to smile these days. One of baseball's early season surprises, the Indians are still rolling and still have the best record in baseball at the one-quarter mark. They have taken 5 of 7 from the Royals this year, and a new series begins tonight on Fox Sports Kansas City. The Royals are back home for a 7-game homestand. They will face 2 second-place teams, and tonight they begin a series with the first-place Cleveland Indians. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. And the Royals are back home after taking 2 out of 3 in New York, getting off to a very good start. They hadn't done that in 12 years, but then dropped 2 in Detroit, and they also dropped in the standings.
Well, they did drop in the standings, Ryan, but we are a fourth of the way through the season, and they're still above 500. And I think that kind of proves that the Royals can play and compete in the Central.
Detroit will be at home, and they will be hosting Toronto. Found out today that Grady Sizemore has gone on the disabled list. That's good news for the Royals. However, that doesn't mean the Indians aren't still strong at the top.
Well, they are strong because Bradley moves down into that #1 spot where he's having a great year. And as Drupal Cabrera, healthy, shows what he can do offensively, and Chu leading the team in stolen bases. But all 3 of those guys are above 300 against the Royals.
And the last time the Royals and Indians hooked up, that was in Cleveland. And in a 3-game series, the Indians hit 9 home runs and swept the series. Now, on the Royals side, as far as offense goes, it was an up-and-down road trip. Game 1 in New York, just 1 run on 7 hits. Then in Game 2, the Royals won this game, but they had a season-low 4 hits. They bounced right back on Thursday at New York with a season-high 16 hits. But then on Friday against Justin Verlander and the Tigers, back to a season-low, only 3 hits, and then ran into Brad Penny, and the Royals were shut out in the game on Saturday with just 5 hits. Wilson Benameet's in the lineup tonight, and the reason why might be he has 2 career home runs against Josh Tomlin. But Josh Tomlin has been tough on the Royals and the American League, and we'll tell you more about him when we come back. Brought to you tonight by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. Royals will be facing Josh Tomlin tonight. They hit 2 solo home runs against him when the Royals were in Cleveland 2 road trips ago, but that was it. Tomlin went 6 innings, giving up just 2 runs. 7 starts this year. He's gone at least 6 innings every time out and hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs. Here's the Indians' batting order presented by Southwest Airlines. Grady Sizemore's had a comeback season so far. So is Travis Hafner. Sizemore's on the DL tonight with a bad knee. Hafner's hitting .340 with 5 home runs, including a walk-off home run on Friday night. They'll be facing Kyle Davies.
Well, Kyle Davies, Ryan's got to come out and just throw first pitch strikes and try to do some early outs and try to get deeper in the games. Last 2 starts, he hadn't gotten a 6th inning, so the Royals definitely need some innings out of Kyle Davies.
And the defense behind him tonight, presented by Ram Trucks, with Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, Jeff Francoeur in the outfield. Wilson Betemit at third with Alcides Escobar. Mike Aviles is at second with Eric Hosmer at first. And Matt Traynor is behind the plate. And that defense has been strong all season long. In fact, perhaps the best game on defense for the Royals was against the Indians back on April the 19th. So the Tribe knows all about the Royals D. The first pitch is coming up next. Been admitted to an area hospital and has received treatment for both oral cancer and melanoma. The family has also requested to please respect their privacy during this difficult time and expect no further comments on his condition. And all of us have been hit by this exactly as you would imagine. But knowing Split, that's more than he wants us to talk about him. He's probably watching right now and wants us to get to the game. So to honor him, that's exactly what we'll do. So Kyle Davies facing Michael Brantley, who is back to the leadoff spot as Grady Sizemore was placed on the disabled list earlier today with a bone bruise to his right knee. And Kyle Davies wearing number 34 with special meaning tonight, trying to beat the Indians for the first time this year and for the fourth time in his career.
Yeah, Ryan, we talked about on the road trip, I believe it was Alcides Escobar when he slid into second base and had the bent knee, the bent leg is what hit the base. And when you're sliding into a base, the leg that's tucked under, that leg should never hit the base. And that's how Sizemore hurt his knee.
So Brantley down to first, and Kyle Davies will pitch out of the stretch. Rained out in Detroit yesterday with miserable weather, and now we are greeted tonight with 66 beautiful degrees. Game started at 7:10. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. And now ball 1-2 as Drupal Cabrera. Kyle Davies coming off a loss Tuesday at New York. It was his first career loss against the New York Yankees and was the only loss in the series for the Royals. And here as he is getting squeezed by home plate umpire Mark Wegner. Kyle actually got off to a very good start this year. At times it has taken him an inning or two to get going, but on Tuesday he knocked down the first 8 Yankees.
Well, it's not uncommon for some pitchers to have that first inning be tough, the second inning to kind of get through, get stronger as you go. But you know, Kyle, you know, that consistency is what you're looking for from start to start. And you know that's the game we thought that he'd really get through and give a quality start, but didn't get through 5. So there's really no rhyme or reason for the inconsistency from game to game.
And you know, when you face the Yankees, that you're going to have to throw strikes. And you use a term, Frank, that I think states what a pitcher has to deal with very well, that you have to throw actual strikes to the Yankees.
Actual strikes, because the umpires don't call them out very often on strikes, and they make you work hard.
When you look at a pitcher's pitch count at the end of the game, it's a bit deceiving because it'll show you how many balls he threw and how many strikes. But a strike is either called by the umpire or the result of a hitter's swing. It doesn't necessarily mean, especially when the hitter swings, that it was in the strike zone. It wasn't an actual strike.
Right, definitely. And I think a lot of times when they swing out of the strike zone is when the pitcher is either heading the count and forces you to chase pitches you don't want to chase. But when you ball 1 a lot, then you also have to be in the strike zone a little bit more, and that's when you get hit.
Hosmer, great backhand stop, down to second, 1, no double play. And it's hard to criticize a great play like that, Frank, but if he could do it again, does he go to the bag first?
I don't think so. I think that play just really got him turned around. He made a nice throw, but you see where Alcides Escobar stayed behind the bag, and he received the ball, and he stepped backwards. This is when you got to close ground, move toward first base a little bit more, gain some ground. He had plenty of time to get 2 or 3 steps toward first base, and that would have been a difference, I think, in turning this double play. See, it's kind of hard to throw flat-footed, and that's what Alcides did when he stepped back with his right foot. He just, everything planted, and then he had to throw the ball not even 90 feet, but probably 93 feet. What a play.
Either way, yeah, great glove work by Eric Hosmer. Made a very difficult play look easy. So we were just talking a few moments ago about the great defense the Royals have played this year, and specifically against the Indians back on April the 19th.
Well, just take a look at Alcides here. You see how he stayed behind the bag right there? He goes to meet that throw, then he gains a couple steps, and he's got more momentum on his throw, and he's got a chance to complete that.
Cabrera runs, and Trainer didn't quite get him. Escobar trying to swipe Cabrera on the leg as he passed by. That is his 4th stolen base.
He gets a good jump also. And when you go head first, one of the casualties is that sometimes that belt buckle is not going to stay with you, right?
Kevin Shank, I promise you, will find a frame in the next few moments that will show you that Asdrubal Cabrera was out. And there it is. Out by the thickness of a new belt. So runner at second with one out. And 1 ball, 1 strike on Shin-Soo Choo, who has driven in 19 runs this year, and 9, this is no surprise considering his history, 9 have been against the Royals. 2-1. 3 home runs here in early April when the Indians were here for 4 games, and then 2 road trips ago the Royals were in Cleveland for a 3-game series, and Choo had 6 RBIs. Belted to right field. It is hooking. It is plenty deep, and it is just foul.
You know, this count right here, if you're going to get that ball in there, it's going to have to get in there, and that's when you want to use that, maybe that 4-seamer that stays straight, and you can get it on the inside corner. But that fastball ran back out over the plate a little bit, and Kyle was really lucky right there that wasn't a fair ball.
A little further inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, one thing about pitching inside 2-2 is that you really don't want to throw a ball. You want to try to get the ball on the plate, or maybe try to steal the inside corner. But you know, 2-2 fastball in off the plate, it really doesn't do any good. Anything. It doesn't change the hitter at all, because he knows that 3-2, he's got to be right there.
Kyle walks his second, so 2 on with 1 out. Royals baseball comes to you from Kauffman Stadium in high definition. Brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. So the Royals are back. The French Quarter is back. And this will be a tough homestand for the Royals, who have been so good at Kauffman Stadium. They are 15-8. But they get the Indians for 2. They have the best record in the major leagues as far as winning percentage goes. Then the Rangers are here. They're in second place in the American League West. And then the Cardinals, they're in second place in the National League Central. Carlos Santana is batting .220, but he has been better in May than he was in April, which was a dreadful month for him. He hit .198 in the first month. 2 balls, no strikes.
That was Santana hitting .220 and Shin-Soo Choo hitting .222. They're making the best out of low averages. You know, with Choo leading the team in stolen bases, and both have 5 home runs. Choo 19 RBI, Santana 18 RBI, and Cleveland's still winning. So they're waiting on those 2 guys to start swinging the bats a little bit better.
2-1. Kyle back on April the 18th. Pitched to a no decision against Cleveland. Gave up just 2 runs in 6 innings, and he finished strong. He retired 11 of the last 13. But then on April the 28th, he took a loss in Cleveland. Gave up 8 runs in less than 4 innings. He gave up 4 home runs and only received 1 ground ball out. So the difficulty there was obvious. He just couldn't get the ball down. 20 pitches, only 6 strikes in the first inning. Right now, what stands out more than anything in this inning is Eric Hosmer's play at first base. Otherwise, Kyle is in a much bigger mess.
Yeah, that ball there was hit hard. It would have definitely been down in the right field corner.
Three walks in the inning. And without the benefit of a hit, the Indians have the bases loaded. Kyle Davies just motioned to the Royals dugout. Bob McClure was already out. And then he motioned, meaning he wanted trainer Nick Kenny to come out. And Ned Yost will join as well. So this might explain why Kyle is having so much difficulty throwing strikes.
Well, that last pitch he threw was a cutter, and that was one. That's a pitch he usually throw for command. You can just take a look at this pitch here. I think he kind of hung his arm a little bit after that pitch.
So this was kind of a foregone conclusion. You don't ask the trainer to come to the mound and then stay in the game. So it'll be Nate Adcock coming on in the top of the first inning, and a Chevy call to the bullpen, and he'll get all the warm-up tosses he needs coming in after an injury. Davies leaves with an injury after walking 3, and now Nate Adcock warming up to take over. Here's tonight's You Call It question, presented by Sprint. Who has the most surprising American League pitching staff so far? Is it the Cleveland Indians, and specifically Josh Tomlin and Justin Masterson? Is it the combo of Jake Arrieta and Zach Britton with the Orioles? Is it the Tampa Bay Rays? Their starters have 18 wins already. Or is it the young Royals with 5 rookies and 10 bullpen wins? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, then a space followed by A, B, C, or D. And if you send in your text tonight, you'll get a bounce back text message, which will give you instructions on how you can enter for a chance to win a suite here at Kauffman Stadium for you and 11 guests to a future Royals game. So Nate Adcock comes on with the bases loaded and 1 out, and this is really a start for him because the Royals were allowed to have him take as much time as he needed to warm up. So no maximum number of warm-up tosses because of an injury. He gets all the time that he needs. He has not made a start at the big league level, but prior to this year, in 102 professional appearances, 90 of those were starts. One of his longest outings of the year was against Cleveland back on April the 27th, and he gave up just 1 hit in 3 innings.
Well, that's when we really find out what kind of action he had on his pitches. The slider, his fastball straight to the inside corner. He's also had an outstanding sinker. Ball runs down into the right-handed, and he also turns it over on the plate. But he's got 3 well above average pitches. So the base is full of Indians,
And all Adcock has to do is face Travis Hafner. Hafner last year hit .278, still bothered by his surgically repaired right shoulder, but this year he is hitting .340, which is 4th best in the American League. And that gets a nice round of applause from the fans here tonight as Kyle Davies, and now we know, fighting some sort of an injury, was having trouble finding the strike zone. Hafner faced Adcock twice in that game back in Cleveland, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. And that's in for a strike, 0-2. That strikeout against Hafner was looking, and on the first 2 pitches from Adcock here, he hasn't been able to pull the trigger.
But one thing that Nate can do is he see those fastballs that run, they start in the middle of the plate, run away. Hafner gives up on them, but he also has the ability to throw that's four-seam fastball on the inside corner that stays straight.
Got him looking. Hafner does not agree with Mark Wegner. And it appeared at times, now Kyle Davies was a bit all over the place, but he was squeezed by Wegner. Here's the call, 3rd strike, very similar pitch over the inside.
Well, this is just outstanding command right here, right on the inside corner. This is a late breaking slider right here.
So the bases loaded, 2 down, and now Orlando Cabrera. He tries to drop down a bunt. Wilson Betemit was playing in Liberty, so there was all kinds of room on the left side. And Orlando Cabrera, an experienced player, figured he could get a cheap run by laying one down.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that with 2 outs. If they're going to give it to you, then you might as well take a shot at it.
Royals have pitched Cabrera well. He is just 5 out of 25. No balls, 2 strikes.
They can really tell there's some late action to this fastball. 92 miles an hour, that's just right around average, but that late movement can cause you to swing and miss.
Very shallow right field. Francoeur can't get it. 1 run is home, and now Santana's caught in a rundown. And the Indians will have 2 at second base. Santana is out. So Adcock almost got out of it, but the Indians get 2 in the first. All strikes, but the 6th pitch is a bloop 2-run single to right field. So the Indians take a 2-0 lead. And now here come the Royals with this batting order presented by Southwest Airlines. And the Royals will be leaning on Jeff Francoeur in this series. Just 5 hits during the road trip, but batting .346 against the Indians this season. And 2 of his 8 home runs have come against Cleveland. And the Royals will be seeing right-hander Josh Tomlin for the 3rd time this year.
Well, Ryan, Josh Tomlin, he gets a full complement of pitches: fastball, curveball, cutter, change. Cutter being the pitch that he really likes, but he does require the ball to sink on his fastball to be effective. But he's a good fielder, good athlete on the mound.
So Mike Aviles, Melky Cabrera, and Alex Gordon here in the bottom of the 1st inning. Aviles just 3 out of 17 in New York and Detroit. Tied for the team lead with Jeff Francoeur with 26 driven in. One ball, one strike. Josh Tomlin is a former 19th round draft pick, so not a big prospect in the Indian system. In fact, he made the club in spring training, winning the number 5 spot in the rotation, but off to a very good start. He gets Aviles on a ground ball to short. The Indians defensively presented by Ram Trucks. And Travis Buck just called up with Grady Sizemore going on the DL. He'll be in left field. Hand-to-hand, the Cabreras up the middle with Matt Laporta at first and Carlos Santana back of the plate for Josh Tomlin. And Manny Acta in his 2nd year with the Indians. They have the best record in the Major League Baseball as far as winning percentage goes at 24-13. And they have a 3.5 game lead over Detroit in the Central. One ball, one strike on Melky Cabrera. Royals in the Tigers series, and they played just 2 of the 3 games because of the rain out yesterday. Scored just 1 run. And Justin Verlander, as well as Brad Penny and Jose Valverde with a couple of saves, held the Royals to a 129 batting average. Three and two.
No, Ryan, that's what good pitching does. It's not that the Royals starters pitch poorly. They, 3 runs per game, they quality starts. But when you run up against Verlander and what we ran up against in Detroit, the good pitching really stops good hitting.
Deep right center field, and Brantley, who has great range, runs it down. So Melky, who had 2 home runs on the trip, both of them in New York. The wind is blowing in from right field. No Kauffman Stadium is deep as it is, but even deeper tonight with the wind.
Well, you have 2 good pitchers matched pretty evenly going into the game, and then both of them are pitching well. And usually the difference in the game boils down to defense. And when you look at the Jeff Francis game, when you look at the play that Casper Wells made in right field, the play that Brandon Inge made in the stands on a pop-up, and that great play that Austin Jackson made in center field. Sometimes that's the difference between winning or losing a 1-run ball game.
Alex pulls it to second, and Orlando Cabrera throws him out. And with a 2-0 lead, Tomlin needs only 11 in the bottom of the 1st.
from Kansas City.
I'm Jessie from Kansas City.
I'm Rachel from Kansas City. We have a question for the announcers. Are the Cleveland Indians pretenders or contenders?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm going to go with pretenders.
I'm going to go with pretenders.
Pretenders!
Pretenders for sure. What do you guys say out there?
Let's go Royals!
Even the gal from Toledo, Ohio thinks they're pretenders.
Well, I tell you what, when you look at what they're doing right now, Ryan, you have to put them in the contender class at this point. You know, they've got 5 quality starters they can throw at you. The defense is very good this year. And I think Manny actually just brought that sense of belief to their ball club. Early in the year when both the Indians and the Royals were right there at neck and neck in first place, he said, hey, enjoy the moment. You know, don't worry about predictions down the road 2-3 months. And I think they've just taken it a day at a time, and they've got some resurgence from Hafner. Losing Sizemore hurts, but I would say they're contenders.
Travis Buck, who was called up when Grady Sizemore went on the disabled list, and he was with the Indians earlier this year, opens the second inning with a single, getting a line drive past Mike Aviles, who had a little bit of a late read on that line shot.
Well, this is out over the plate, and he's got good extension on it, and he pulls it back. And a lot of times what happens here, when you get that top hand, the ball kind of cuts away from you. It starts at you, then all of a sudden it starts to cut away. So if Mike had set his feet a little too soon, now he's got to take a little extra lunge to try to make up for the difference in the ball moving to his left.
Ball 1 on Matt Laporta.
So you can see how the ball all of a sudden just cuts, and that comes from getting that extension out there, and the top hand comes through, and so it comes over with overspin, and then Mike probably thought the ball was centered right to him, and at the last minute it started to hook, and his feet just had already settled in, so he just can't do anything but lunge for it at that point.
One and one on Laporta, who just fouled one off of his foot. The Indians are coming off back-to-back rainouts. So they were rained out on Sunday, just like the Royals were, and Cleveland just on the other side of Lake Erie. But they had a rainout on Saturday, so they haven't played since Friday. And Maniacta especially disappointed because they won Friday's game on a walk-off home run. And they were playing the Seattle Mariners. No disrespect to them, but Seattle is in last place in the American League West, so his team's playing well, playing with emotion. Seattle had lost 6 in a row. You want to get back out in the field with those guys.
Well, that is true, and I remember going in there in '81 and getting rained out 3 days in a row, so it can definitely happen. But I think that, you know, the Royals in Detroit would be in that same boat. That's a game that Detroit probably would love to have played since the Royals hadn't been scoring runs, but because of weather you couldn't play it, and I can understand both sides of that coin.
And they had Max Scherzer on the mound yesterday, who is 6-0. Another walk, and that is 4 given up by the Royals in 1 inning plus 2 hitters. That's Adcock's first. So the Indians for 2, the Rangers for 2, and then part 1 of the I-70 series begins on Friday. The Cardinals are here Friday, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon, and we still have great seats for all 3 games. They will go fast as we get closer. So go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS if you want to join us this weekend. Now Jack Hanahan drops down a bunt, and Adcock's play is to first. So Hanahan, who was clobbering the ball all over the place when the Royals were in Cleveland a couple of road trips ago, batting just .245 going into that at-bat, moves everyone up with the sacrifice.
Well, Nate does a good job getting off and setting his feet and making a throw to first base. He takes himself crow hop. Excellent throw right there. But I think Manny Actor is realizing the Royals haven't been scoring runs lately, and it's a good opportunity right now to try to add on.
And it puts 2 in scoring position for Michael Brantley, who's hitting .298. If you weren't with us in the first inning, Kyle Davies facing 4 batters. He walked 3 and then was removed because of an injury. No announcement yet. So Nate Adcock came on, got a strikeout, and then gave up a 2-out 2-run single to Orlando Cabrera.
This would be a good time for Nate to kind of go with his sinker here and try to get a ground ball and try to keep that run from scoring.
On the ground and through the right side. Buck scores. Laporta is held at third. And Michael Brantley has hit in 5 straight games. And the Indians have a 3-0 lead in the second inning.
Brantley, he's just killing the Raws this year, Ryan. It's this pitch stayed middle in, and he just got right on top of it, hit it in a good spot. Adcock got his ground ball, but just wasn't in a spot where it could be caught.
When the Indians were here last month, Brantley didn't have eye-popping numbers in the series, but he hit everything hard, it seemed like. Even his outs were hit right on the nose, but right into the Royals defense.
Seemed like everything down out over the plate. He just really dropped the bat head on the ball.
And now he's running. Hosmer, his only play is to first base. He was able to freeze Laporta over at third. Brantley moves up, and Asdrubal Cabrera is out number 2.
Well, Eric is showing a lot of agility at first base, and he does a good job of smothering this ball and takes a look at second base, take a quick look at third, and went back to make the tag at first base. We had a lot of things going on real quickly right there. This is why I say the game speeds up. He looks second, third, and then go to first base. That's an interesting play there. Normally first and third ground ball, everybody's running, but with the runner stealing right there, for some reason, when the ball's hit on the ground, running at third didn't go. But normally first and third, anything on the ground, you going.
Strike on Shin-Soo Choo. He walked and scored in the first inning. And now 2 runners in scoring position for him with 2 outs. Told you in the first inning he has driven in 19 this year and 9 against the Royals. And a broken bat soft liner is caught by Aviles. So the Indians get 1 out of the inning and they lead 3-0. Early returns in our Sprint You Call It question. The most surprising American League pitching staff so far. Text 432-432. The keyword is Royals, a space, then A, B, C, or D. 59%. Most impressed with the hometown bullpen. And it's not just our fans, our viewers, but the entire American League has been going on and on about the 5 rookies that have led the Royals bullpen this year and helped the Royals to all those late inning come from behind victories. In fact, we have 2 teams in this series here that have won quite a few of their games late. Billy Butler with a slow roller to Orlando Cabrera, and Josh Tomlin has retired the first 4. Jeff Francoeur comes up, and let's go out to the French Quarter, and here's Joel.
All right, well, they're cheering right now, but I got to tell you what, they said they had more T-shirts coming in, so they took care of Donnie Miller. All right, they took care of the former NFL linebacker, the cameraman down here. Take care of the cameraman first. And I got my French Quarter T-shirt as well. So there are about 10 of these out there now, guys. And as is always the case, a lot of cheering going on for anything that happens on the field. And it's always Frenchie that has something to do with it. Doesn't matter if it's a ground out to second. Frenchie made the play. So they have outfitted Donnie Miller in a French Quarter T-shirt. Says 21 in Frenchie on the back, and I got one for myself too. They're going big, guys.
3 balls and no strikes on Francoeur. 2 home runs this year against the Indians, and one of them against Josh Tomlin.
It's always good when fans take a liking to a player. You know, Paul Bird had his Birdland, and Jeff Francoeur has his French Quarter.
Left field deep, but down around the end of the bat and playable for Travis Buck. But a huge ovation from the French Quarter nonetheless. So 5 up, 5 down against Tomlin, and now Eric Hosmer started strong in New York, got his first 2 Major League home runs at Yankee Stadium, but then finished the road trip 0 for his last 9. So he faces Tomlin for the first time and takes strike 1. No balls, 2 strikes. And as we have said before, Hosmer's swing is entertaining, whether he makes contact, solid contact, or in this case just barely makes contact with the ball.
Well, you're right. I didn't see him swing and miss a lot in spring training, but when he lets it go, I mean, he really lets it go.
Chops a curveball on the ground. Tomlin throws him out. So 6 up, 6 down. Mobile broadband network by Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. By Chevy, see your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. And by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? Cleveland Indians have won 5 of 7 from the Royals this year, and now a 3-0 lead to the third. Nate Adcock coming on in the first inning after Kyle Davies left with an injury. Cleveland got a 2-run single from Orlando Cabrera in the first, and then an RBI base hit from Brantley in the second, and now number 4 hitter Carlos Santana tried to bunt his way on. Davies walked 3, then left with the injury. Adcock came on, struck out Travis Hafner on 3 pitches, and then he was 0-2 on Cabrera when he dropped a bloop single into right field.
Well, this is a Travis Hafner shift right here. You really don't blame Santana for trying to bunt the ball. Look where Wilson Betemit is. I mean, just anything just to get past Adcock down the line is going to be a base hit for him.
Two balls, 1 strike. Almost hit him. Even though Santana is batting at .220, Manny Acta has used him as the number 4 hitter all season long. So it just figures he's eventually going to bust out. And as we told you in the first inning, after a 198 month of April, he is hitting .270 this month.
I guess Manny Acker's figuring if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, he figures he likes his lineup. Definitely a lot better with Sizemore in it, but he's got a very good player that put that number 1 spot in Michael Brantley. I don't think they're going to lose a lot right there.
Vin Mazzaro was just warming up in the bullpen and warmed up while the Royals were batting in the bottom of the second. He is supposed to start tomorrow against Carlos Carrasco, and I don't think he would be throwing unless he would be coming into the game the day before his start. And a leadoff walk to Santana. So 5 walks given up by the Royals in 2+ innings. And now Ned Yost looks like he might be coming out to get Nate Adcock, and indeed he is going to bring in Vin Mazzaro. So a Chevy call to the bullpen, and Mazzaro is on with a runner at first and nobody out. Injury out after 1 out in the first inning, replaced by Nate Adcock, who goes an inning and 2/3. He gives up a run in the second, and now Vin Mazzaro, who is scheduled to start tomorrow against Carlos Carrasco, Took a no decision on Wednesday against the Yankees. The Royals ended up winning that game 4-3 in 11 innings. That was his Royals debut after beginning this year at CLE Omaha. Royals have walked 5 Indians already. And with Santana at first base, it's Travis Hafner who struck out against Adcock in the first. Low ball 1. When the Royals faced the Indians in Cleveland 2 road trips ago, and they hit 9 home runs in 3 games. The conditions were great for hitting. It was warmer than normal for that time of year in Cleveland. The wind was blowing out. When the Indians were here in the middle of April, it was pitcher friendly weather. It was windy, it was gray, it was rainy. That wind was blowing in, and in a 4-game series, the Indians hit 1 home run. And tonight, it is much warmer than it was the last time the Indians were here, but the way the wind is right now, it is blowing in.
At the size of this park, I mean, it seemed like they made Progressive Field real small.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's really a pretty good move by Ned Yost right here. You bring Adcock in, and you was hoping to get 2 innings out of him, and now you bring Mazzaro in, who's a starter. And now if he's on, he can take you the rest of the way if he has to, and you don't have to really go through your bullpen. At least that's the hopes anyway.
Mazzaro was going to be the Royals' 5th starter this year. He did not travel north with the Royals from spring training because of some off days. The Royals wouldn't need a 5th starter for a couple of weeks, so he stayed in Arizona in the warm weather, pitching in his normal routine so that his arm would remain stretched out. But his first start after joining AAA Omaha was not a good one, and he had big time control problems. So he stayed in Omaha, and the Royals replaced him in the rotation with the man that he beat out in spring training, Sean O'Sullivan. And O'Sullivan has been great for the Royals as a starter this year. Alex Gordon across the line, and it lands in the first row. Ben Mazzaro, 24 years old, grew up in New Jersey, so he had plenty of friends and family to watch him during the Wednesday game at Yankee Stadium. Taken by the A's in the 3rd round of 2005, and then the Royals got him this past November in the David DeJesus trade, along with minor league pitcher Justin Marks. Santana runs, and Hafner fouls it away. This has to be a little odd for Mazzaro. One of the reasons why the Royals selected him over Sean O'Sullivan was that Sean O'Sullivan had more experience as a reliever. One of those guys was going to be a starter, the other was going to be a reliever. Mazzaro in the big leagues has made 42 appearances, and 36 of those have been starts, whereas Sean O'Sullivan, when he was pitching for the Angels before coming to the Royals, was bouncing back and forth between starter and reliever. Very high to right field, into the wind. Francoeur is back, and on the warning track makes the catch. So a 9-pitch battle is One by Mazzaro with perhaps a little help from Mother Nature.
Well, definitely a little help on this one. Hafner really gets the bat through on this ball here, Ryan. He hits this ball a ton. Now, Francoeur didn't pick it up right away, but then when he got a beat on it, it was a matter of just tracking it back to the wall and making the catch. But that ball got knocked down heavily by the wind.
And now with one out, Orlando Cabrera. Santana runs again. Cabrera throws his bat, and Santana has a stolen base. That is his first of the year. So there's an example of a veteran hitter doing whatever he could do to try and make contact and protect the runner.
Well, that's his job, and if this pitch is down in the dirt, you still got to try to foul this ball off best you can to help that runner. And a veteran guy like Orlando Cabrera would know what to do in that situation. The worst thing you can do is to do nothing in that situation, and the runner's thrown out at second base.
One ball, one strike.
What should we say? We need another look.
Yeah. We'll start calling this the. Well, all right. So to say, we'll start calling this the producer Kevin Schenk from the heart video replay. But actually, from that angle there, the tag is applied and the foot is not on the bag.
He's right. But in live action.
2-2. Nate Adcock nearly pitched the Royals out of a mess in the first inning. Indians had the bases loaded, one out. Travis Hafner struck out, and then Orlando Cabrera was down 0-2, but he blooped a 2-run single to right. This time he strikes out against Mazzaro, and they're 2 down.
This is an outstanding pitch going down here, Ryan. It's like a little light slider. A lot of depth to it. Cabrera couldn't reach it. I can recall when I was playing how the umpires used to be behind the second baseman. Because I remember telling umpires to get back all the time, but then they moved inside. So if they're behind the second base, that play seems to me would be a lot easier to call. And they seem to think by moving inside, they have a better look at it. So it's just a matter of how you want to look at it.
Well, the position that Mike Winters is in right now is one where if the runner goes in feet first, then the runner's back is going to get in between the umpire and the tag.
Right.
One and one on Travis Buck, who singled and scored. That was leading off the second inning. That skips past Buck, and Santana goes to third base. A wild pitch charged to Vin Mazzaro.
That slided down in the dirt. The trainer did everything he could to get in front of that, but it hit off the right hip and kept going back to the screen. That ball came very close to being a hit batter.
On the ground to Hosmer, big hop, but he stays with it, and that's the inning. So leadoff walk does not turn into a run. Indians lead 3-0. Frexen, the director of CHD Families. CHD stands for Congenital Heart Defects. Valerie is joined tonight by husband Jonathan. In 2001, their 2-year-old Noah died from CHD, a disease that affects more children than all pediatric cancers combined. The Rexons ask anyone who might be affected by CHD to read more on their website, chdfamilies, one word, .org. (3-0) Indians, and Josh Tomlin has retired the first 6. He has had difficulty with matchups against Wilson Betemit. Betemit having a good year overall, hitting at .317. But against Tomlin, he is a .462 hitter. That average will go down a few points as he rolls to Laporta, 1 away. Third time the Royals have faced Josh Tomlin. No decision back on April the 21st, but he only gave up 1 run in 7 1/3 innings. The Royals won that game. That was the walk-off Melky Cabrera hit in the bottom of the 9th. And then Tomlin beat the Royals in Cleveland on the 27th of April. Gave up 2 solo home runs in 6 innings. 3-1 in his career against KC. A strike to Matt Traynor. Had a good road trip. 4 out of 9. Also reached with a couple of walks. That gets him up to 229 altogether. Out of play. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. It's the Royals and the Indians again at 7:10. And if you come out to the ballpark, the first 10,000 fans receive a Royals powder blue T-shirt presented by Teva Neuroscience. This is the 3rd T-shirt of 7 T-shirt Tuesdays, so add to your collection tomorrow. Ripped into the left field corner and up against the wall. So that's the Royals' first base runner. Traynor is into second with his 3rd double of the year, and he did that with an 0-2 pitch.
We got a break on the 0-2 pitch with the hanging breaking ball right out in the center of the plate. I mean, this is a big mistake pitch right here. Now Tomlin's in the strike zone with all of his pitches, but 0-2, this is too good a pitch. 0-2, and Matt Traynor made him pay for it.
And now Alcides Escobar. And a strike from Tomlin. Escobar just 1 out of 16 on the trip. He did drive in a couple of runs. Begins the homestand with a .218 average. (0-2).
One thing about Tomlin, he throws strikes. It seems like every time a raw hitter comes up so far tonight, it's always been strike 1, 0-2.
One ball, 2 strikes. We have brought up the statistic called WHIP, which is walks and hits per innings pitched. And Josh Tomlin's is excellent. It is 0.86. So what that means is if you combine the hits allowed and the walks allowed, he is averaging less than 1 runner per inning. So he's off to a good start tonight against the Royals, but he has been doing this all season. The league was hitting .185 against him when the game started, and the Royals are just 1 for 8 against him tonight. And he's only walked 9 in 49 innings, and his WHIP 0.86 is the 2nd best in the American League.
I think one of the things that Josh Tomlin does well, Ryan, is he really stays ahead of hitters. You stay ahead of hitters, then pretty much you're in control all the time, and you get behind, that's when you really get hit hard. And he's not overpowering with his fastball, but he is in the strike zone.
Hit right on the nose and right at Orlando Cabrera, so tough hitting luck for Escobar, and there are 2 down. It's a stat I like to look at because, you know, a guy like Tomlin, who has a good opponent's batting average at 185, there are many pitchers who don't give up many hits, but they do give up a lot of base runners because of walks. And there are some pitchers who don't walk many, but they give up a lot of hits. Somebody like Mark Burley of the White Sox. And this is a way of combining the two and just see what type of innings he has on average. Is he mostly pitching stressful innings with a lot of runners, or is he just breezing along most of the time like he is tonight? Aviles rolled out to short in the first inning. He's the Royals leadoff man tonight, trying to bounce back after a 3-4-17 road trip. In the air, shallow right field. Shin-Soo Choo is underneath, and that's the inning. 3 scoreless innings for Tomlin and a 3-0 lead. Harrison and Vin Mazzaro is at 94. Josh Tomlin at 90. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Road Runner Turbo. The Royals had used 3 pitchers by the 3rd inning. Kyle Davies removed with 1 out in the first with anterior right shoulder soreness. He's going to get an MRI tonight. Nate Adcock then pitched an inning and 2/3, and Mazzaro came on in the 3rd, faced 3 and retired 3, and now the Indians have their first hit against Mazzaro. Matt Laporta on for the 2nd time. He walked in the 2nd.
It's not a bad pitch here. It gets in on Laporta. He just able to force it out into right field. About the trademark of the bat. Didn't really sting it, just served it out into right field.
So that's 4 straight innings that the Indians have had the leadoff man on. A strike on Jack Hanahan. He dropped down a sacrifice bunt in the 2nd inning that led to a run. Hanahan batting .245 against the league, but he is hitting .409 against the Royals. As far as the Royals are concerned, that's a .409 hitter at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Four home runs, 15 RBIs for Hanahan. 2 of those home runs and 8 of the RBIs are against the Royals.
That means we played each other a lot.
Out at second base and no chance for a double play. So Hanahan's at first as Laporta is erased at second.
Vilas does a good job right here, and they're just going to get one out. But you rather see Alcides get out of the way. You know, don't try to jump over the runner right there. Just go meet the ball, get one out, clear the space, and don't trust that the runner knows that you're trying to get one out.
But I would think Escobar right now thinks he can make any play. I mean, there hasn't been a play that I've seen yet where you say, well, he can't make that play. He's done it all.
Well, the thing is, he's smart enough to know when to get his feet out of the way. You know, he knows when he's on the wrong foot, like he was there. He knows that he can't make that throw, so he gives up on the play.
Two 2-0 on Michael Brantley. He's hit in 5 in a row. Drove in a run in the second inning with a single. So that gets him up over 300 to 303. He'll move back to center field and lead off with Grady Sizemore on the DL. Sizemore placed there before the game tonight with a jammed right knee. And he did that sliding into second base. It was not the same knee that he injured last year and required surgery. That was his left knee, getting the microfracture surgery. Four-pitch walk, and in less than 4 innings tonight, the Royals have walked 6. That's Mazzero's first, and there are 2 on for Asdrubal Cabrera. Outside, ball 1. So Mazzero's missed with 5 straight. Indians lost their first 2 games this year. They opened at home against the White Sox and were outscored by 10 runs combined in those 2 games. But then they won 8 in a row. Then they lost 2 straight. And now they have won 12 of their last 16. Nobody predicted Manny Acta and the Indians to be in first place this late in the season, and we are at the quarter mark, the 1/4 mark of the season. 24 wins, 13 losses, 3.5 game lead over the Tigers. Tigers are at home against Toronto, and that is served out into shallow left field. Coming around third is Hanahan, and the throw is cut off by Betemit. So Asdrubal Cabrera has hit in 7 in a row, and the Indians lead 4-0.
Now, right now, anything that he throws up there is just not working for him, and this ball gets just high on his hands. I mean, it jams him right there, Ryan. And when you're going good, this is what happens to you here. He forces it out down the left field line. Alcides does a good job getting to the ball, but there's just no play on that. I mean, you just hate to make a good pitch like that and don't record it out. But right now, when you walk people, they usually score some kind of way.
Or in this case, move a runner up into scoring position. Runners were dancing around. Looked like Brantley at second base was trying to time Mazzero, and now Mazzero's missed with 6 straight, and Bob McClure is concerned. He'll go out to talk to him. Brantley looked like he wanted to take off.
Well, sometimes when there's chaos going on, the offense wants to keep the pressure going. So if your attention is divided, you're paying a lot more attention to the hitter than to the base runner. So he looked to try to take advantage, but Mazzero did do a good job of looking back there and making sure he stopped. It's
got to be somewhat of a strange feeling for Mazzero. For all intents and purposes, this is a start. It won't go down as a start, but as far as what the Royals need from him tonight, it's a big chunk of innings. But he came into the game with men on base last inning. He was scheduled to start tomorrow. The Royals were given an off day yesterday that was unscheduled because of the rainout, so everybody got an extra day's rest. And the Royals do have some options. We'll have to wait and hear on the health of Kyle Davies' right shoulder, coming out after 1 out in the first inning tonight. 2-2 on Shin-Soo Choo.
You have to think it's a mindset also. You're thinking that you're going to start the game tomorrow. You come to the game, whatever your routine is between starts, you probably pick day before you start. You might have this routine you go through getting ready for tomorrow, and you're settling down in the bullpen, and all of a sudden, Mazzaro, get up, So, I mean, that's got to be a mindset change that you got to get used to also.
Melky Cabrera back to the warning track in deep left center field. Both runners were standing on second, so they go in opposite directions after the ball is caught. Brantley goes to third, and Cabrera rather, goes back to first. Shin-Soo Choo is the second out. Yeah, I just thought of something. Did you notice Vin Mazzaro going out to the bullpen? Why would tomorrow's starting pitcher be in the bullpen in the first place?
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice him going out.
Unless maybe the Royals going into the game maybe knew that Kyle wasn't 100% and they were prepared with Mazzaro out there. Strike on Carlos Santana. 2 walks tonight and his first stolen base of the year.
I guess the question is, did he start the game in the bullpen, or did he start the game on the bench?
Well, that was my point. I don't remember seeing him run out there after the first inning, or well, it had to have been after the first inning if he didn't go out there with the other relievers, because he was warming up in the second and then came on in the third. A violent swing, as it normally is, from Carlos Santana. No balls, 2 strikes. Santana is originally out of the Dodgers organization. The Indians got him in 08 in a trade for Casey Blake. He was originally a third baseman and an outfielder in the Dodgers system. They moved him to catcher, so it wasn't a huge stretch for him when the Indians had him field some ground balls at first base in spring training. And he's played some games at first in addition to being the primary catcher. Twice in the minor leagues, Carlos Santana was the league's most valuable player. Cabrera runs. Trainer throws down to second, and the throw is not in time. The Indians have 3 stolen bases in less than 4 innings.
It's almost like Matt Trainer didn't pick him up right away. You can look right here. Cabrera, I mean, he just almost like a hit and run almost. He just really just turned and just started, I won't say jogging to second base, but really wasn't running that hard until after the ball passed the hitter.
Just inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And it was just inside.
A good pitch on Mazzaro's part, on a 1-2. Now that pitch has got to set up this next pitch, because you want whatever happens, you want it to happen right here.
3 balls, 2 strikes. So from 0-2 to 3-2. Santana last year was to the Indians what Eric Hosmer has been to the Royals this year. It wasn't a matter of if, it was when he was going to be called up. Manny Acta plugged him right in the middle of the lineup. Made him the everyday catcher, and he was playing just fine until he was involved in a home plate collision at Boston with the Red Sox Ryan Kalish in early August and blew out his left knee. now Trainer and Mazzaro have to talk over the 3-2 pitch. Well, the Royals have come out a little flat tonight, and that does happen often after a road trip. A rain out yesterday, and the Tigers announced the rain out early, which is nice when you're home, but when you're on the road, you have to wait around a little while. Santana walks for the 3rd time. The Royals have walked 7 in less than 4 innings, and that one is more painful, as Santana at one point was down, no balls, 2 strikes.
You figure Santana hitting at 220, you know, you get that many walks in a game, three walks hitting 220, then that's giving him a lot of respect.
So they're loaded up for Travis Hafner, and he just gave the Royals a gift going after that pitch, not even close. Mike Muslinski is the third base umpire.
Well, Hafner's usually known for having a good eye, but that slider down and in, that's one pitch so far this season that the Royals have been successful with him on. Well, either throwing it for strike 3 or a swing and miss, or even just getting a check swing like that.
Just foul. So once again, an Indians hitter is down 0-2. Cleveland's second in the league in hitting. Only the Angels have a higher team batting average. They are 4th in the league in home runs. One ball, 2 strikes. Hafner had one of the best seasons in Major League history with the bases loaded. Back in 2006, he tied the Major League record with 6 grand slams that year. Don Mattingly had first established the record in 1987. He was the first player in Major League history to have 5 grand slams before the All-Star break. When 2006 came to an end, Hafner had 42 home runs. Slicing towards left center, Melky stumbled, and it's going to roll all the way to the wall and clear the bases. Cleveland Indians have taken a 7-0 lead in the 4th inning.
This fastball went back out over the plate, and Hafner hit this ball fairly well, Ryan, but didn't seem to really drive it. But I don't know if Melky got a bad jump on it or didn't pick it up right away. But it looked like it was started at him, and then all of a sudden it started to slice away from him, and it's more of that circle route than going straight across and catching the ball.
Yeah, that was a great angle. Looked like his first step was in. And then as he tried to make up for it, he stumbled.
Right, it's almost like the ball right away goes right to him, and all of a sudden it starts slicing. And when it went to slice, he at one step in really cost him right there.
And that's sliced to right. Francoeur has a drop in front of him. And Hafner is around third. He will score on Orlando Cabrera's 3rd RBI of the night. Cleveland Indians have an 8-0 lead. So now Travis Buck, and he is the 9th Indian to come to the plate. Cleveland with 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 5 in the 4th. That's the 30th pitch of the inning for Mazzaro. So Michael Brantley moves to center with Grady Sizemore going on the DL, and Travis Buck will get some playing time. He was the odd man out when Sizemore came off the DL earlier this year. Escobar double clutches, and that cost the Royals an out. It is an infield single for Travis Buck in his second hit of the game.
You know, Alcides only going to get one shot on this play. He got to go to his right and circle the ball. And like you say, without getting that first grip, that first throw, you know, that's the one thing that really cost him that play. But that's pretty close play right there. To the live eye, it looks a little different. But Eric Hosmer does a good job picking this ball out of the dirt.
You're right. I mean, no out is recorded, but that's an impressive scoop. Up the left field line, and that is fair. Cleveland Indians are going to get 2 more runs. They have scored 7 in the 4th inning. Matt Laporta started all this with a single to right, and now his second hit in the inning.
But when you leave it right in the middle of the plate, Ryan, it's going to get hit. And that's right dead center, right in the hitting zone. And Laporte just drives this ball down in the left field corner, you know, for a double and 2 RBI.
Jack Hanahan reached on a force out earlier in the inning and came around to score. One ball, one strike. Kyle Davies gave up 2 runs in a third of an inning. Left in the first with soreness in his right shoulder. Nate Adcock gave up 1 run in an inning and 2/3. And now Vin Mazzaro has allowed 7 runs in an inning and 2/3. Matt Laporta has 2 hits in this inning. Through the right side, and Laporta will be held. He goes through the stop sign, and now at the last moment slams on the brakes. He had his head down for a moment and didn't see Steve Smith throwing his hands in the air. First and third, 2 outs.
So you get a good look at Laporta when he comes around third. There's going to put his head down right when he touches the base right there. So he doesn't really see the sign yet. And he's probably going to take another 2 or 3 steps before he decides to look up. And there goes the brakes. You know, in a base runner's mind, it's 2 outs, base hit. They're going to try to score me. But in a third base coach's mind, he's got to look at the score of the game. Plus, he's got to look at how hard the ball's hit the right field and who's in right field.
Two walks and an RBI single for Michael Brantley, and he has scored a run. 12th man to come up for the Indians in the inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now all of a sudden the Royals are feeling somewhat fortunate that yesterday was a rainout, because they're going to need just about everybody to get through tonight.
I know Ned Yost was hoping Vin Mazzaro would take him through at most of this game so he wouldn't have to go to that bullpen.
Now Brantley drills it to deep right field, and that is a 3-run home run and a 10-run 4th inning.
Well, just right down the middle of the plate, fastball. And you say Brantley, he didn't get a lot of hits in that first series with the Royals, but he's definitely making them pay for it tonight.
Jeremy Jeffress now warms up behind Vin Mazzaro. Mazzaro is up over 40 pitches in this inning. Cabrera has a single, an RBI, a stolen base, and a run scored in this inning. He has scored twice tonight, and he has stolen 2 bases. And the inning is over. Cleveland scores 10 in the top of the 4th. Royals tonight down 13-0 in the 4th inning. But on that topic, our league leaders brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Both of these teams have been productive late in games this year. As far as comeback wins, the Royals lead the league. The Indians are right behind them. And then wins in the final at bat. Both teams lead the league, tied with 9.
It'd be really got nice to see the Royals supply some offense in this game. Coming out those last 2 games in Detroit where they didn't score but 1 run. It'd be nice to see that offense at least come alive in this game. And like you say, it's a big hill to climb, but you'd like to see the offense be competitive.
Slicing to the left field corner, and Buck is on it, 1 away. Second time that Melky Cabrera has had a fly ball caught on the warning track. So Tomlin pitching with an enormous lead, and he's only allowed 1 base runner in 3 1/3 innings. Matt Trainer doubled, and that was on an 0-2 pitch in the 3rd inning. Alex Gordon grounded out to second, his first time up. And that's hit well to left center. Slicing away from Brantley, who can't quite reach it. Alex is thinking about third, and he is in with a triple, his 3rd of the year.
Well, you want to see the offense get going a little bit. Fastball out over the plate. Alex saves through it, drives it into left center field. If you can get it by Brantley, you've done something, because he covers a lot of ground. He went as far as he could go and just came up a little bit short. That's when you got to have that backup guy there. Without the backup guy, without Buck getting over there to back that play up, that's probably an inside the park home run.
Inside to Billy Butler. He grounded out in the second inning. Two balls, no strikes. Royals are playing at home for the first time since losing 2 out of 3 to the Oakland A's, and that was the Royals' first losing series at home. They became the last American League team to lose a series at home. And in that Oakland series, the Royals scored just 7 runs. Two balls, 2 strikes on Billy. And in that series, Alex Gordon, Billy Butler, and Jeff Francoeur all had their batting averages drop below 300. Billy warmed back up on the road trip. He hit .357 against the Yankees and the Tigers. That pitch stayed up. He will drive in a run on the ground ball to Cabrera. So Gordon comes to the plate, and Billy Butler has his 17th RBI.
That's really all you have to do in that situation with a man on third and the infield playing back in the middle. Just put the ball in the middle of the field, and you got yourself an RBI there, Ryan.
So a 12-run home run would tie it. And it's a strike on Jeff Francoeur. He flied to left in the second inning.
Or 3 grand slams, as Kevin Shanks says.
One ball, 2 strikes.
Well, the Royals have gotten no help from Tomlin at all. I mean, you need a combination of bloop hits, so you need some walks to get back in and try to take over a lead like this. You need a lot of help from the starting pitcher.
Two and two. Right center field. Brantley is there. And that's the inning. The Royals get a run in the bottom of the 4th. Royals tonight. They are down by 12 runs, and we're just starting the 5th inning, and we haven't even mentioned Kyle Davies having to leave in the 1st inning because of a sore right shoulder.
Well, you know, Ryan, that kind of got things going. You know, when he left, the bases were loaded, and you have to come out of the bullpen under those kind of circumstances. And you know, Nate Adcock's used to it, but Ben Mazzaro, you know, being a tomorrow's starter, had to come into the game also, and he was inconsistent, and the Indians jumped all over it, and Josh Tomlin just really hasn't given the Royals anything.
So Mazzaro continues to take one for the team. A 43 pitch, 10-run 4th inning. Now that comes after he entered the game in the 3rd with a man on base and retired 3 straight hitters. He got Hafner, Cabrera, and Buck. And then the Indians with 10 runs on 8 hits in the 4th. 2 balls and 1 strike on Shin-Soo Choo.
That's just a matter of making quality pitches, and you got ahead of some hitters, but just didn't have the right thing to put them away.
Deep to the opposite field and on the warning track and in front of the wall. Alex brings it down. Second time that Shin-Soo Choo has flied out deep. He is 0 for 3.
But take a look at Alex. He's got this measured, and then all of a sudden he has to readjust his stride, and the ball went back the other way, being hit by a left-hander. It's gonna move a little bit, so he's athletic enough to make that move.
Carlos Santana has been on base 3 times without putting the ball in play. Walked in the 1st, walked in the 3rd, stole a base, and then was down, no balls, 2 strikes in the 4th, and walked. And he's ahead, 2 balls, no strikes. Took something off the pitch, 2-1.
Well, Santana had one thing on his mind. I'm going to get me a fastball, and I'm going to see what I can do with it. That was a heads-up pitch right there by Ben Mazzaro.
Pass Hosmer and up the right field line. So Santana on for the 4th time tonight. The Indians have their 12th hit, and Carlos Santana has his 6th double.
Let's check out your defense here, Ryan. This ball's right down the line, and you can see where Frank Coors is playing him almost more of a pull right-handed hitter than it is for a left-handed hitter, and he pulls his ball down the line, and that ball gets out there in that grass and kind of slows down and makes that double real easy.
Now ball 1 to Travis Hafner, and if there was a biggest hit in a 10-run inning, it was Hafner. With 2 outs and the bases loaded, he had a 3-run double. That made it a 4-run inning, and who would have thought the Indians would go on to score 6 after that. They scored 2 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 10 in the 4th. Three balls, no strikes.
And the one thing that Mazzaro's got to do, Ryan, he's got to get ahead. When he's behind like this, the hitter's just going to wait for you to come to them.
Walk number 8 given up by the Royals tonight. And walk number 4 for Bob McClure to the mound.
He's probably just going out right now just to get him a breather and let him catch his breath a little bit. There's not much you can tell the pitcher right now. It's basically, hey, look, you know, I know we ask you to do a lot right here, but you got to throw strikes. You got to try to get ahead of these guys and try to get some outs.
Well, Mazzaro isn't able to get out of this inning. The Royals could use 4 pitchers by the 5th. Two on, 1 out. And now Orlando Cabrera, he has driven in 3 runs. And a slow roller up the third base side. And there's nothing Betemit can do but pick it up. A swinging bunt, and the bases are loaded with 1 out.
Yeah, that's what you call doing everything right, and the results are not in your favor. Make a good pitch. Orlando Cabrera hits it right on the ground, right in the right spot. That's about as good a bunt as you can make if you want to bunt the ball.
Travis Buck has 2 hits tonight, 2 runs scored. Former Oakland A's first-round pick back in 2005 out of Arizona State, where he played with the Red Sox Dustin Pedroia. And that's sliced to left. That'll drop in front of Gordon. Hafner had to make sure it was going to drop. So everybody moves up 1 station, and Carlos Santana comes around to score for the 2nd time tonight. And for the 2nd time tonight, Cleveland Indians have a 13-run lead. So it will be the Royals' 4th pitcher in 5 innings. Not expecting to pitch. He was going to start tomorrow in Game 2 with the Indians, but because of an injury to Kyle Davies, he comes on in the 3rd inning. And he has given up 11 runs. He leaves the bases loaded with 1 out for Jeremy Jeffress, who hasn't pitched in 11 days.
Well, you know he's going to be strong, so you just hope that he can command his fastball. He's been working on a slower curveball as a first pitch get me over curveball and try to save that real good curveball for a strikeout. But right now you just worry about more like fastball command when you haven't pitched in a while. And that just comes from just being too strong.
And 95 outside to Matt Laporta. He had 2 hits in the Indians' 10-run 4th inning, including a 2-run double. No chance. 0-2.
That's called looking for a changeup and swinging for a fastball. That's what that swing looked like right there. Just like, man, that is too fast.
We started tonight talking about Grady Sizemore going on the DL and how the Indians were still strong in the top third of their batting order. Well, tonight for the Indians, Manny Acta's lower third is 6 out of 8. The 7, 8, 9 hitters are 6 for 8 with 5 runs scored and 3 RBIs. That's a good game when it's over. That's only in 5 innings. And now Matt Laporta just missed a grand slam. He will drive in 2 more runs, and the Cleveland Indians lead 16-1. Matt Laporta has driven in 4.
You take a look at that first fastball that he had the funny swing on, Ryan, but then you make that adjustment. You see the location of this fastball. Laporta likes the ball in, and he gets the fastball in down, and he really hit this ball a ton. And just to the base of the wall. Alex gets it in. And he probably could have got himself 3 runs in, but the score is so lopsided that third base coach Steve Smith held the runner up at third.
No surprise, I'm sure, if I tell you this is a season high allowed by the Royals. It was 11 runs at Texas back on April the 22nd. "15 hits is not so far the most hits allowed. The Angels came up with 19 hits against the Royals on April the 3rd. But 16 runs in less than 5 innings. What do those gals in the parking lot think about the Indians now?
They don't look like pretenders, do they?
Man. World beaters. Here in the 5th, that's the only inning tonight the Indians haven't had the leadoff man on, and they've scored 3 runs anyway. Curveball stays high. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Hanahan. He has scored 2 runs. On the ground to Escobar. This will get another runner home. So Hanahan gets Buck to the plate. Moving on to third is Laporta. And it is 17-1. So that closes the book on Vin Mazzaro. Matt Laporta, the runner at third, is now the responsibility of Jeremy Jeffress. Shallow center field. Melky Cabrera is there. And that's the inning to the bottom of the 5th. Cleveland leads 17-1. of the fifth. 10 runs in the fourth for the Indians. Here's tonight's AT&T trivia question. Which active player has the highest career average against the Royals? Which active player has the highest career average against the Royals? Minimum 150 at-bats. Eric Hosmer, Wilson Betemit, Matt Trainer here in the fifth inning. Royals have 2 hits, 1 run against Tomlin, and now Hosmer drives it into the left field corner. And all the Royals hits tonight have been for extra bases. So Hosmer puts an end to an 0 for 10. That's his 3rd double.
That's a good piece of hitting here. They've been working him away a lot, and he makes this adjustment and is able to keep the ball fair down the left field line. He stays back with his backside and leads with his hands. Ball's away, stays through it, and gets himself a double down in the corner.
One strike on Wilson Betemit. Grounded out to first in the 3rd inning. Before that, he had been 6 out of 13 against Tomlin with a couple of home runs. That's .462. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Travis Buck runs to the wall and runs out of room. Josh Tomlin going for his 5th win of the year. His last victory was against the Royals. That was 3 starts ago on April the 27th. A series in which the Indians swept the Royals in 3 games. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the Indians have been impressive tonight on offense. They've had a good offensive year, but they also have done their share of work on the mound and on defense. They have the fewest walks allowed, or tied for the fewest walks in the league. 3rd fewest home runs, 4th best ERA. They don't strike out a lot. They're mostly a contact pitching staff. They have the 2nd fewest errors in the American League. There's another base hit for Betemit off of Tomlin. Hosmer will be held at 3rd. So runners at the corners with nobody out. So old-fashioned pitching and defense has also helped the Indians to the best winning percentage in the American League.
Well, that's true, Ryan, and you always kind of start up the middle when you're talking about defense. And as you see Wilson take the high fastball and drives it to right field. But when you look at the 2 Cabreras up the middle, where they handle the ball probably more than anybody on the field, there's only 5 errors between them, and that means they're making the plays.
Now Brian Pena will bat for Matt Trainer. This probably means that Matt Trainer is going to come back and catch tomorrow, so he can take the rest of the night off, get ready for tomorrow night. And that was supposed to be Vin Mazzaro, but he came into the game in the 3rd inning tonight, so we haven't heard anything other than just to assume that Sean O'Sullivan will move up a day. So Brian Pena getting a chance to get some playing time. No balls, 2 strikes. Trainer doubled in his only at bat, coming off a road trip where he went 4 for 9 with a couple of walks.
You know, catchers don't get credit for losses, and goalies do in hockey. But I tell you what, when you have a night like this where you want to give up this many runs while you're behind the plate, and you always kind of figure you could get your pitcher through and you can figure some things out to help him out. But when you have to leave a game like this, then you don't feel too good about your night. It almost feels like you played a 9-inning game already. But you wish you could have helped your pitchers a lot better.
Still 0-2 on Pena. A tough home debut for Vin Mazzaro. He is hit with 14 runs and 11 hits in 2 1/3 innings. On a night where he was not expecting to pitch, he thought he was going to pitch tomorrow night. Kyle Davies had to leave in the first inning with soreness in his right shoulder. Pena strikes out, and for Tomlin, that's his first. So 2 games with the Indians, and then on Wednesday the Rangers will be in town, and that's our next Ink student night. Students can purchase a ticket for $7 with a valid high school or college ID, plus get a hot dog and beverage for $7. And on Wednesday it's another Ink local music showcase with support from 96.5 The Buzz, Rex Hobart, and the Misery Boys will be playing. The gates open at 5:30 on Wednesday. That was another pinch hitter for the Royals, Chris Getz, and he fouls out to Jack Hanahan. So first and third, nobody out, has become runners at the corners and 2 outs. Mike Aviles has grounded out to short, flied out to right field. Fastball for strike 1. Doesn't mean much in a 17-1 game, but Josh Tomlin is doing what he has done often as a big league pitcher. And one way that manager Manny Acta has described him is someone who knows damage control. And with first and third and nobody out, trying to get out of the inning altogether, he has done better than master damage control so far, with a 2.7 ERA and a 185 opponent's batting average. But what that means is when he gets into trouble, doesn't necessarily mean that he gets out of it entirely, but he's able to avoid a big inning more times than not.
Right. The game just doesn't get away from him, and he stays in the game, gives himself an opportunity to win, and I think that's the mark of a guy who's matured as a pitcher.
Foul off to the third base side. Still 1-2 on Aviles, and even with this enormous lead, he's still working hard. I mean, he's got 16 runs to work with. Just saying that sounds strange, but he's still trying to get outs and trying to get out of this inning, even though the Royals started this with runners at first and third and nobody out.
Well, that's true, and I think the Royals can come up there looking for a fastball. I think they're going to get some good pitches ahead the rest of the way. He wants to get ahead, so they got to come up. I think in this case, Ryan, being more aggressive than they normally would, because he wants to get ahead with a strike and keep the game going.
Mike Aviles will do this sometimes. He's thinking about swinging and then realizes that the pitch is inside. So trying to stop the swing and get out of the way at the same time. And the Indians thought he had gone around, but first base umpire Chris Guccione said no. Shallow right. Chu is there, and Tomlin gets out of it. 17-1 Cleveland. leave with a sore right shoulder, and then the sky fell on the Royals. Indians scored 2 in the first, 1 in the second. They scored 10 in the fourth, and they added 4 more in the fifth, scoring off of Davies, Adcock, Mazzaro. Jeremy Jeffress has given up 3 RBIs, no runs charged to him. The Royals got their run in the bottom of the fourth inning on a Billy Butler ground out, and now Jeffress stays on for the 6th and throws ball 1 to Asdrubal Cabrera. So big changes for the Royals now. We saw 2 pinch hitters in the bottom of the 5th. Everybody shifting around. Chris Getz at second base. Mike Aviles goes to short. Brian Pena as a pinch hitter in the 5th stays in behind the plate. We just saw Mitch Meyer in right, Gerard Dyson in center. One ball, 2 strikes on Asdrubal Cabrera. 2 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, and an RBI. And that's hit high in the air to right field. Meyer sprinting to the warning track, and it's over his head. Meyer goes into the screen, and Cabrera goes into second base. 16 hits for the Cleveland Indians. Al Broughton, our producer, associate producer, is trying to bait us, Frank, with Shin-Soo Choo coming to the plate. Which active player has the highest career average against the Royals? You going to go for it?
No.
Yeah. Not going for it. We'll see Albert Pujols this weekend. Shin-Soo Choo is up on the list, though. He is in the top 5.
Yeah, I was going to guess. If I had to really start guessing, I was going to say Mauer. 11.
Nine of his 19 RBIs this year against the Royals. 0 for 3 tonight, but a noisy 0 for 3. He is lined to second, flied out to deep center, flied out to deep left. Jeffress trying to keep him from extending his arms. 2 balls, 1 strike. Doesn't make sense that a guy with that career average against the Royals is the only Cleveland Indian without a hit.
He squared up a couple balls pretty good. But he always takes good swings.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Last year was the 2nd straight year that Shin-Soo Choo hit 300, had at least 20 home runs, and at least 20 stolen bases. His average is way down. He's at 218 at the moment, but he's on pace again for another 2020 season. And now he has a hit. The Indians have 17. First and third, nobody out. And now Carlos Santana, who's been on base 4 times. He has walked 3 times. The Royals have walked 8 tonight. And he doubled and scored his last time up. Oh, 0-1. Good fastball, 96. Santana going for it all. 0-2.
The one thing, the harder a pitcher throws, the easier you got to swing. When you try to muscle up like that, You slow your bat down and makes that ball a lot faster.
One of the biggest differences right now between the Royals and the Indians is what they have done on the road. Both teams have 15 wins at home. The Indians recently had a 14-game home winning streak snap. That's the third longest in their franchise history. But the difference on the road is big. The Indians are .500 away from Cleveland, and the Royals are 5-11. Second year as manager for Manny Acta after spending parts of 3 seasons as manager of the Washington Nationals. Two balls, 2 strikes. Seen the Indians go up and down over the last 10 years. Last year was their second consecutive losing season, but it was only 4 years ago that the Indians were 1 game away from going to the World Series. 2007, they had a 3-1 advantage over the Red Sox in the ALCS. Boston came back. They beat the Indians in the ALCS, and then they went on to win the World Series. And now here's Cleveland with a 24-13 record, most wins in the American League. The Phillies have 25 wins, and that leads the National League. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Cleveland is showing no rust at all. Remember, they haven't played the last 2 days. They won the game by way of a walk-off on Friday night. Travis Hafner beating the Mariners, and they were rained out on Saturday, rained out yesterday, and now they've come up with 17 runs in 5+ innings tonight.
I'm sure they would probably be surprised by this output of offense. You know, these big numbers here, they don't just show up every day. So when you can put together a night like this after having 2 days off, man, that's pretty impressive.
Very high into shallow right, and Chris Getz is there for the first out.
That'd be a tough pitch to get on top of. His pitch is at 95 miles an hour at the top of the zone. You got to really work hard to get on top of that fastball. So it's got into second base.
And it will be Shelley Duncan hitting for Travis Hafner, who drove in 3 runs. Oh, 0-1.
It's one of those games on the offensive side you don't want to come out of. You know, if it's the 8th inning, okay, but you know, in the 5th inning, you want to top of the 6th inning, the 5th inning, you want to just get out of there. You say, hey, I want to stay here and try to get a good night out of this thing. So you don't get many opportunities like this as a hitter to put up numbers like the Indians are putting up tonight.
We will see Shelley Duncan's father this weekend, Dave Duncan, longtime pitching coach of the Cardinals. Shelley's brother Chris also played for the Cardinals. Remember last homestand we had that game when the Royals honored the Kansas City A's with the Oakland A's in town. We had Tommy Lasorda up here in the booth. Well, Dave Duncan, Shelley's father, was a Kansas City A's player. And nothing was given to the Duncan family. Shelley spent 7 years in the minor leagues before getting to the big leagues. His brother Chris played 7 years in the minors before getting to the big leagues. And Dad Dave played 5 years in the minor leagues. And Dave Duncan, interesting very successful pitching coach. He was a catcher.
Yes.
Belted up the left field line and fair. So Cabrera scores. Shin-Soo Choo comes around third base to score. It is 19-1. And the number 5 spot for the Indians tonight has 5 RBIs.
But Duncan takes advantage of his fastball on the inner half. When Jeffers has left that fastball up on the inner half, it's been hit pretty good down the left field line, and this ball here is getting us a corner. Alex does a good job of really cutting this ball off. It could have been worse if it had been played a little differently, and they were able to get 2 RBI there.
This is Adam Everett batting for Orlando Cabrera, and he had 2 runs scored, 3 RBIs. No balls, 2 strikes. In case you're wondering, and I know that you are, the Cleveland Indians have scored more runs tonight than they ever have in one game against the Royals. And if you're wondering about the most runs scored against KC ever, any team, it is 22. That was back in 1994 against the Boston Red Sox. One of my favorite records is the most runs ever scored by the Royals in one game is 26. It's also the most runs the Royals have ever scored in a doubleheader. They were shut out in game 2, but by getting 26 in game 1, that's still the most runs they've ever scored in a doubleheader. Francoeur gets underneath the fly ball in right field, and Adam Everett is the second out. So 2 down. Take that back. Mitch Meyer in right field. Go with 2 down with more interesting tidbits. Here's Joel Goldberg.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that game, April 12th, 1994. I'm sitting with Jeff Montgomery. He had already remembered that one, not the date, but what had happened. And the final was 22-11, Boston over Kansas City. And Monty said, "Did I hit someone in that game?" He looked it up. "Yes, you hit Scott Fletcher." "Did he steal a base?" "No, he pinch hit for Andre Dawson, who had stolen a base earlier." "Oh, yeah, that's right. Stan Belinda had hit Andre Dawson. He stole the base. Then I went and hit Scott Fletcher for him later." Monty threw 1 inning in that game. The final 2 innings, David Howard. So you were just showing Mitch Meyer out there. I'm not suggesting that it'll happen, but David Howard that day, 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, and 5 walks. But it's turning into one of those kind of games. So funny how Monty remembered, if not the date, but that he had hit someone. Wasn't quite sure who it was, but someone was going to be hit that day.
Buck is out at first base on a close play. The Indians get 2 more in the 6th.
Goldman from Overland Park, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Larry will win $1,100. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Larry will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Now, do we know, was that Larry right there?
No, I think he probably wishes he was Larry, and he wishes for a home run. And a grand slam would be really nice in a game like this one.
Rod Dyson with a broken bat liner to first. Dyson hitting for the first time. Melky Cabrera had been 0 for 2. Well, Josh Tomlin has given up 1 run, 4 hits, and 5 1/3 innings. And was still pitching with great effort last inning, even with a huge lead, and got around to first and third and nobody out. Alex tripled and scored in the 4th inning, 1 for 2. It was Josh Tomlin that put an end to Alex's 19-game hitting streak back on April the 27th. Alex has loved hitting at Kauffman Stadium this year. His overall batting average is .295, but here at Kauffman Stadium right around .340. He has hit all of his home runs here. 11 of his 14 doubles and 19 of his 23 RBIs have been here at Kauffman Stadium. 2 down in the bottom of the 6th. Join the Royals, the Greater Kansas City Attractions Association, and the Kansas City Convention and Visitors Association for Tourism Day at Kauffman Stadium this Thursday. Royals and the Rangers at 7:10. That's a fair ball past Hanahan. And Billy Butler, who has driven in the only run for the Royals tonight, is 1 for 3. Royals have 5 hits against Tomlin tonight, and 4 have been extra base hits. 12 doubles for Billy this year.
Now, really, this is not really a bad time for the hitters, because I think Tomlin's trying to get ahead. He's going to give him a fastball to hit, and Billy got this ball down the line. So when you're down by this many runs, there's no reason to go up and sort of eyeball. You got to go up and look for that first pitch fastball that the pitcher's going to give you.
Mitch Meyer bats for the first time on defensively in the top half of this inning. Mitch was disappointed by the rainout yesterday. He was going to get a start against Max Scherzer and the Tigers, and being from Michigan was going to have a lot of family and friends there, but it was a miserable day yesterday. Misty, gray, windy. Temperatures anywhere from 42 to 45. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jeff Francoeur started in right field, and he was 0 for 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Tim Collins warming up for the 7th inning, perhaps. Royals have already used 4 pitchers. Left center field. Brantley making the call with Travis Buck there, and that's the inning. run fourth, leads 19-1. Pepsi Max is proud to be the official soft drink of the Royals and the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. Look for these special edition Frank White Pepsi Max cans at your neighborhood Hy-Vee. Frank will be at Hy-Vee in Prairie Village on Friday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So stop by. You'll meet Frank. Pick up a can of Pepsi Max. Pepsi Max, Frank, 0 calories. That's 0, but maximum Pepsi taste. Take a sip. Very good. Tim Collins is the 5th Royals pitcher. He'll get the 7th inning. And Matt Laporta with a big game. He has driven in 4. Of course, there are several Indians who can claim that with 19 runs, 18 hits. Laporta 3 for 3 with a walk. Kyle Davies left with 1 out in the first inning with right shoulder soreness. Nate Adcock went an inning and 2/3. Vin Mazzaro 2 1/3. Jeremy Jeffress an inning and 2/3. It'll be Laporta, Hanahan, and Brantley. Two balls, 2 strikes. Matt Laporta coming over from the Brewers, and the deal for CC Sabathia. That was back in 2008. Laporta, former first-round pick of the Brewers out of the University of Florida, and when he was a sophomore there, he led the NCAA with 26 home runs. And then on his first professional swing after being signed by the Brewers, he hit a home run, and his first major league hit was a home run.
Just a power guy.
But right now he is the Indians' number 8 hitter, and he has a 4-hit game, and that's the 5th time he's been on base. MLB.com's At Bat 11 app for Android, BlackBerry, and Samsung Galaxy Tab is live baseball. Follow the Royals wherever you are with game day pitch-by-pitch tracking. Plus, get in-progress box scores and stats, breaking news, and searchable video highlights. Slice to left. Alex makes the play, and Jack Hanahan is 1 for 4. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. The Favor with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson. The producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. And good to be home and see the rest of our Fox Sports Kansas City crew, which I believe is getting a little chilly. It was 66 degrees and sunny at first pitch, and now the temperature has dropped. The wind is blowing out of the northeast.
No, this is almost like Oakland weather. You know, we have really nice days and very cool nights. Donnie agrees.
Yep. He never has any time for us. I mean, we're lucky we got a little nod from him right there. Phil's a little more friendly, right, Phil? There we go.
Donnie, when he's playing football, they probably love a night like tonight.
French Quarter gives Donnie a free t-shirt, and he's all smiles and waving out there. Gets to Aviles, to Hosmer, and a double play. And for just the second time tonight, the Indians are scoreless in an inning. Missouri Botanical Gardens. You can stroll through 79 acres of landscaped display gardens, indoor conservatories, and historic sculptures. Founded in 1859, this is the country's oldest botanical garden in continuous operation. The outdoor and indoor displays include the Climatron Tropical Rainforest, Kemper Center for Gardening, the Japanese Garden, and many more. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. It is 19-1 Cleveland to the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's tonight's Sprint You Call It question, the most surprising American League pitching staff. And even though the bullpen has been right in the middle of 19 runs, 19 hits, 62%, like the Royals' young bullpen. Thanks for texting tonight. Lou Marson is the new Indians catcher. So Carlos Santana goes to first base. Matt Laporta with 4 hits is done for the night. And this is Justin Germano on the mound. Eric Hosmer goes after his first pitch. And as Asdrubal Cabrera on the outfield grass makes the catch, Hosmer is 1 for 3. So the Indians got 6 innings out of Josh Tomlin, and that means in all 8 of his starts this year, Tomlin has gone at least 6 innings and still has not given up more than 3 earned runs in any start. Wilson Betemit 1 for 2 with a 5th inning single. One and one. Off the end of the bat, right into the left hand of third base coach Eddie Rodriguez. We will show you all the scores from around the American League when we get to the 8th inning in the Panera scoreboard, but I can tell you that Toronto has defeated Detroit, so that's more good news for the Indians, as Detroit was in 2nd place, 3.5 back when we started tonight. So that ends the Tigers' 7-game winning streak. On the ground to Santana. To the bag, 2 away.
Well, Wilson just goes down and just try to put this ball in play. He hits it pretty decent, but Santana squatting behind the plate all this time, goes to first base and gets the ground ball tester right away.
That's the way it works. The ball will find you.
Can't hide. You just can't hide. It'd be interesting how Matt Trainer was taken completely out of the game, and Santana had to stay in the game. That's youth.
Well, that's because Matt Laporta has been running around the bases all night. But I guess so has Santana. He's been on base 4 times.
Yeah.
0-2 on Brian Pena. Came on as a pinch hitter in the 5th inning for Matt Trainer and struck out against Tomlin. And as good as Tomlin was, he didn't do it with power tonight. Did it by changing speeds. Only had 1 strikeout in 6 innings. Royals with 5 hits. 4 of the hits were for extra bases, but only 1 runner came around to score. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Tomlin did a real good job of just throwing strikes, just staying ahead of the hitters, and he was able to kind of pitch his game because of the fact that he does throw a lot of early strikes.
Off off the plate. Germano grabs it with the bare hand and got him at first. A close play. Royals are down quickly in the 7th. To the 8th inning, and here is the Panera scoreboard. Tampa Bay beats New York. Well, the Yankees have lost 6 in a row. Tampa Bay leads by 3 in the East. We told you about the Toronto win over Detroit, so the Tigers lose their 7-game winning streak. Now the Blue Jays have won 6 in a row. Baltimore is in front of Boston. Boston, after that slow start, got back to 500. Texas, half game back of the Angels. They lead Chicago, and the Angels and the A's reign in the first inning. Rain in Oakland. And Seattle is in front of Minnesota. Twins have lost 8 in a row. Joakim Soria. And this is actually a meaningful appearance for Soria. It's obviously not what he's used to, but the Royals feel like they have detected a flaw in his mechanics, which he has worked on. So this is his first outing, perhaps trying to make that correction. This could be an outing tonight that he builds on for his next save opportunity. 2 hits, 3 runs for Asdrubal Cabrera. 2 balls, 1 strike. He's also stolen 2 bases.
Yeah,
Sorry, Frank.
one thing about Soria, you always get used to him throwing that first pitch strike on the outside corner and being able to at least command the fastball and mix his other pitches in between. And so lately, he's just been a little off with his fastball, been pitching behind in the count a little bit more, and more high in the zone, more so than anything else. So maybe the mechanical correction will take care of all that tonight.
Good start. Got Cabrera looking at a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Just more or less the deception of his fastball, and we used to make comments about it's not an overpowering fastball, but it gets on you so fast that you get a lot of swings and misses because he does hide the ball a long time.
And now strike on Shin-Soo Choo.
You know, a lot of times you can get away from what works, and sometimes when you try to add too many pitches, it can take away from the pitch that really makes you what you are. And to me, the fastball command is what makes Joakim Soria, but you get to throwing the cutter and some other things, and before you know it, you don't have the fastball command that you normally have.
Shin-Soo Choo, believe it or not, in a 19-1 Indians lead, has had as little as anyone to do with this. A single, a walk, 2 runs scored. And you figure in a big game for the Indians that Choo would be right in the middle of it. Mitch Meyer sprinting to right field. That's off the screen in front of the scoreboard. So Chu has a 1-out double. That was on a 1-2 pitch.
That's the 1-2 changeup, and that's usually an odd pitch to throw at the on a 1-2 count. Normally you go with, you know, something down underneath the swing or a fastball out of the zone to try to get him to chase, but this changeup stays right in the middle of the plate and up in the zone. It doesn't have that, it doesn't turn over like most of his changeups did.
"19 runs, 20 hits." So that's a new season high allowed by the Royals this year. The Royals had allowed 19 hits to the Angels in the first series, but that was an extra inning game. 20 hits in 7 1/3 innings. Shallow center, and Dyson comes blazing in to make the catch. 2 down. Hey fans, next time you want to catch a Royals game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Kansas City Royals. Shelley Duncan with a runner at second and 2 down. Duncan batted for Travis Hafner in the 6th and hit a 2-run double. One and one. Royals took a beating the last time they faced the Indians in Cleveland, April 26th through the 28th. And if you take those 3 games and you add tonight's game, Manny Acta's team has outscored the Royals 33-9 in their last 4 games. Hang on. Let me take that back. It's even worse. 43-9. 43-9 in the last 4 games.
That doesn't do a lot for pitcher confidence. I think the basically gets good back to you know, how is a starting pitcher or any pitcher successful? You're successful by getting ahead in the count and controlling the at bat. You get behind in the count, the hitter controls the at bat, and then you got to be able to make better pitches when you get behind the count.
That's a Soria-like pitch. He strikes out 2 in a scoreless 8th inning.
ballpark right now. Joel Goldberg getting ready for Boulevard Royals Live. We will still have a nice crowd out at Rivals. Jeff Montgomery and I will break down this game. And even though it's been lopsided, a lot to talk about and a lot to answer as well with all the pitching changes tonight and all the pitchers burned. What's the health status of Kyle Davies? Who is going to start some of these games the rest of this week? We'll look for answers. We'll see how much we get and break down tonight's game. All that coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Should be interesting. A lot of questions to be answered, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. Here's former Royal Chad Durbin for the bottom of the 8th inning. Indians got 6 out of Josh Tomlin, who's going for his 5th win. Justin Germano with a scoreless 7th, and now Chad Durbin, drafted by the Royals in the 3rd round in 1995. Frank, you might remember you were on the Royals coaching staff in 1999 when Chad made his Royals and Major League debut. Chris Getz lines out. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Chad had been pitching at Double-A, and his season was over. So he went home as we got into September. The Royals were in the middle to late of September, and they were having some problems as far as healthy bodies. And so Chad Durbin had been away for a couple of weeks since the Double-A season at Wichita had been completed. And the Royals called him up, wanted to know if he was still in shape. He said that he was, and they sent him to Detroit to join the Royals, and he made his big league debut at Tiger Stadium. It was the final series ever at Tiger Stadium, and he came on in the 2nd game with the bases loaded, made his Major League debut, and got out of it.
And they had big crowds that last weekend too.
Brantley in center field takes care of Mike Aviles, who is 0 for 4. So we were talking about Vin Mazzaro and how he came to the ballpark tonight not expecting to pitch, and especially when you're a starting pitcher, those guys have such a routine, not just physically but mentally.
Right.
How about Chad Durbin, man? He thought his season was over.
Well, when you think on the other end, though, you're home, they call you, would you get overly excited about coming back?
Oh yeah. I'm sure there was no difficulty in finding adrenaline, and Durbin has a very quick bottom of the 8th inning. Chevy play of the game.
This is Brantley's home run. This 3-run homer here, Ryan. This is the hit that really got the game turned in the Indians' favor, where you kind of felt like it wasn't going to be the Raw's night.
That was the 8th, 9th, and 10th runs in that 4th inning. Lewis Coleman comes on, throws one pitch, and gets Adam Everett on a foul out to third. And Lewis Coleman coming off his first major league save. Got that in the 11-inning game on Wednesday in New York. And in a small slice, 8 appearances, the league so far hasn't been able to figure him out, just batting 161. Oh, 0-1 against Travis Buck.
Well, his outing in New York, the one thing he did differently in that outing, he introduced his slider a little bit more. And he had showed real good deception, got some swing and misses with it. And I think that's really going to help him down the road.
Travis Buck just called up when Grady Sizemore went on the disabled list. 3 hits, 3 runs scored. He was getting a lot of playing time when Sizemore was on the DL to begin the season, recovering from left knee surgery from last year, and then went down to the minor leagues when Sizemore came off the DL, and now he's back. Didn't run that ground ball out very hard.
Well, that's a real nice pitch down underneath his swing. This is a slider we talked about, Ryan. He just hits it right on top of the ball, and it goes an odd direction for a pitch that was going that way. Almost thought he hit him on the foot at first.
First at bat for Lou Marson. That's a tough pitch for a right-hand batter.
Yeah, it is. You can just, like you mentioned, you look at him, you think he's throwing across his body, but the way he explains it, he's really squared up to the plate. But when you're young pitcher, you come up, they want to establish your fastball. Now you're starting to see some of these rookies like Collins and Coleman start to introduce their sliders and their curveballs a little bit more, and it's making them a lot more effective.
Yeah, he explained to me that his stride is actually straight. He still does have to come across his body a little bit, but his back foot is cocked towards the third base dugout. It is not up against the rubber. The whole outside of his foot is not up against the rubber, just the tip of his toe. So he strides straight, but then, like a hitter with a closed stance, he then has to throw a bit across his body. Creates a lot of deception, and especially difficult for a right-hand batter. Ooh. Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire, flinched. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You can say, what time is it? That's a nice pitch right there.
Still 3-2. Lou Marson trying to bounce back from a tough 2010. So far, so good, batting over 300. He had 195 in 87 games last year. Jammed him, and Dyson in center field cruises in. That's the inning to the bottom of the 9th. Pistano. With Alex Gordon, Billy Butler, and Mitch Meyer coming up. He's having a very good year for the Indians, and the Royals have seen the best of Vinny Pistano. 1.84 ERA, 176 opponent's batting average in 14 2/3 innings.
Well, he comes right after. He's got that low arm slot. Not quite as low as Lewis Coleman, but the ball does sink. Good fastball.
Alex has scored the Royals run back in the 4th. He tripled with 1 out. Billy Butler got him home with a ground ball. Alex is 1 for 3. The Indians will come to the ballpark tomorrow with a 4.5 game lead over the Tigers in the Central. Not the way the Royals wanted to finish their 40th game of the year, but 40 games represents the 1/4 mark, and they will be right at the 500 mark. 20-20. Santana goes diving on the first base side, and Alex finishes 1 for 4.
He's spent all that time squatting behind the plate to go to first base, and you just that first step quickness. That's an outstanding play right there. Even more outstanding because you have a catcher that moved to first base, but he has infield background. But that's an outstanding play by Carlos Santana at first base.
Brantley takes a good route and goes straight back and gets Billy Butler. Billy 1 for 4. 2 lineouts against Vinny Pistano. Mitch Meyer batted in the 6th inning in place of Jeff Francoeur and flied out to center. Oh, 0-1. Vinny Pistano, not a bad 20th round pick.
That gets a lot of movement.
Ouch.
Well, you can see they want this pitch on the inside. They want it to come in and then come back out and catch the inside corner, but he held on to it just a little bit too long. But they hit Mitch in a good place, you know, right in the wallet. That's not that's not too bad right there.
One strike on Eric Hosmer, 1 for 3 with a 5th inning double. Royals faced another good starting pitcher tonight in Josh Tomlin, but it seems like we've been saying that a lot lately, and what might be lost in this 19-1 game. Yeah, the Royals gave up 19 runs, 20 hits, but this was a game where they really wanted to get back together on offense, and they've scored 1 run on only 5 hits. Hosmer strikes out on 3 pitches, and the Royals go down big time. Indians take game 1, 19-1. We'll be right back.